This is actually working. It's working. Hello. Seems like there's only, I don't know if the notification's gone out or if anyone can actually even hear me. Are you able to hear me, John? Hello, James. Yay, thank you for subscribing. I don't know how many people are in the chat or anything like that, so I'm gonna check it on my phone real quick. Looks like 2 right now. Okay, good. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. So I think what I'm gonna do is just for kind of like the replay value of the video. First, one of the first things I think I want to talk about is just saying a huge thank you to some of my recent customers, because we all are going through kind of a hard time recently with, you know, the COVID, and it's had such a horrible impact on so many people. So for that, thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate that. Especially become a very good friend of mine, and that's a gentleman called Rod Eversole. So I want to say a huge thank you to him, because he has been phenomenal, great communication, and just an all-around awesome person to speak to. He's absolutely fantastic, and we definitely love him. And there you are. I was just shouting you out, Rod. So that guy there, he is fantastic, absolutely awesome person. I'm absolutely blessed to consider him a friend also. So the first thing that I really wanted to yay! All right, Skipper, thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. Sorry, and now I'm going to get back to it. So the first thing I actually wanted to talk about tonight was something that actually happened to me in the past 24 hours, and I know a lot of people don't really like to kind of admit when things don't go well, and that is water changes. And I'm wondering how many people have actually done water changes, and then the next morning, or maybe even a couple of hours later, discovered that their fish are not doing very well, or even dead. And this actually just happened to me. And what surprised me the most about it is that I actually age my water. As most of you know, and if you don't know, I breed betta fish. So when I age my water, it helps reduce any chemicals that I use in my water. Certain dechlorinators actually, I have found, have stunted my fry. So I try to stay away from using any dechlorinators or anything like that, therefore allowing my water to age and just trying to have it as natural as I possibly can. So in that sense, what I do is I fill my buckets up and then I just let them age for 24, 48 hours or even longer sometimes. And then, I do my water changes that way. And I never normally have any issues whatsoever. However, something to consider is it's getting colder up in the Northeast, and every year they flush the lines and add different chemicals. I'm assuming it's something to do with like the water treatment during the winter versus during the summer. I don't know for sure, but what I found is they'll flush the lines or add certain chemicals that just haven't been alleviated out of the water. So I did water changes, and after I did my water changes, the next morning, I did them really super late last night, and thankfully it was actually only 4 cups, that I actually needed a water change because they were kind of grubby, and I got the rest of mine done. And this morning when I came down into the fish room, there were 4 of my betta were dead. The 4 that I had water changed in the aged water were dead. And I was just like, this is crazy. So, in light of that, I think it's very important that if you're someone who actually takes your hose and puts your hose into your fish tank and fills your fish tank with the hose, I really feel like you're playing devil's advocate with that. And I wanted to kind of make everyone aware of, if you're using, city water, you really need to pay extra careful attention to it, especially now. And honestly, the best thing I can suggest to do, and I've been sitting thinking about it pretty much all day, because I'm kind of devastated that I'm devastated that it happened, and I'm also frustrated because it's not the first time it's happened. It happened this time last year too, and it's heartbreaking. It's actually very, very distressing to know that it was probably something that could have been avoided. Now, I think one of the biggest things to do is to make sure that before you even attempt to put your hose into your fish tank, if that's the way you do it. Personally, I don't like to do it like that. But if you're putting your hose into your fish tank and just treating the water as it's going in with your dechlorinator, I mean, you'll literally, if they flush the lines and there's sediment in those lines, it's gonna go into your fish tank. If you ever like poured water into a cup and it's been like brown or looks dirty, if you just put it straight into your tank and fill the tank up, you're probably gonna kill your fish in a matter of minutes. Who knows what is in there? Hi, Chubbs Aquatics. So my best kind of advice with this is, if you do fill with the holes, make sure you're allowing it to run for plenty long enough before it even goes anywhere near your tank, so that, and check that water is coming out clear. If it smells super strong of chlorine, I would probably actually test that water to see and make sure that you have brought down the levels before even thinking about putting it in your tank. And I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot of times in a lot of the betta communities, particularly, that they do water changes and the next morning 5 or 10 fish are dead, and like 20 are struggling for life. So I don't want people making that same mistake, and I don't want people to deal with that same frustration just simply because you're not aware of it. it's it's always it's always best if you can allow water to age, but again, it's not foolproof. As I mean, as I just said, like I always let my water age before I use it. So it was a couple of days ago that I filled the bucket and then did those 4 water changes, and all 4 of the fish were dead. So thank the Lord that it wasn't more serious than it was for me. But I mean, it could have been a whole system that was wiped out from bad water that's come straight out of a faucet in the city. So definitely that's like, I can't stress enough to really really pay attention to the water levels. Sorry, the the way the water's coming out of your faucet, especially this time of the year when they're doing a lot more treatment, a lot more. There's just a lot more process from the water that's running off of the roads too. Like soon there's going to be huge salt content, so you might find that if you've got shrimp tanks, for instance, they might start having all kinds of issues because the GH and the KH are whacked out and the pHs are off. So I really 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 stress that during the winter months particularly, you guys pay really close attention to the quality of the water that's going into your fish tanks, and don't make the same mistake that I happen to make even with aging my water. And I'm just going to check the chat real quick because I saw something here. And James Green, yeah, that's true. Like if you disturb the substrate too much, you can actually release a lot. You can release a lot of buildup from the gravel, and it can whack all your parameters out. So I would, when I have a tank that has gravel that I have to siphon out, I only do like a quarter of the tank one week, a quarter of the tank the next week, because I don't want the cycle to crash on me, and I want to make sure that there's enough beneficial bacteria in order to keep those parameters as stable as possible. And if you're breeding fish, it's detrimental to their actual their forming. So I would really really be careful when you're doing that also. But then once the water's out, you really got to pay attention to what's going back in. I mean, you or I wouldn't drink a glass of dirty water because we've poured the water in the cup and it's brown because of sorry, there's like a little gnat that keeps flying at my face and it's driving me insane. We wouldn't drink that water, so we definitely don't want it in our fish tanks. And in your town, oh, that's great. I don't use Prime. Chubbs Aquatics, I don't use Prime personally, and it seems to be more of a beta issue than anything else. Beta fry do not do well with Prime. It stunts them. Any other fish I haven't had a problem with using Prime, but for some reason betas just don't deal very well. They just don't deal very well with Prime in their water. I'm not entirely sure. That's why I went back to aging all of my water. Like I have like probably 30 gallons or more at a time aging so that I can do water changes. And I do my water changes every 3 days. So minimum, absolute minimum. So between all of my jars, of which right now I'm running close to probably about 100 jars. So I have to age all the water for all of those jars. But if you but using city water, I mean, I've never really had a problem with it, apart from it seems like the change of the seasons from like late fall, now I mean it's actually early fall, but it's a lot colder up here than it was this time last year. It's actually a lot colder this year than it was last year. So I'm wondering if that's just prompted them to start flushing all their lines early and and getting everything set for the winter, just a little earlier than usual. But it's definitely it's definitely frustrating, and I definitely won't want someone with like, a tank full. On my beta jars, I do 100% water changes on my beta jars, but that's only on my beta jars. Um, on all of my fry tanks here, it's usually only a percentage, probably like 25 to 50, depending on how grubby the bottoms of the tanks are. Because I use a siphon or like a airline hose, and just I try to get out all of the gunk off of the bottom so that the ventral fins on the beta actually form correctly rather than being burnt off by food waste. So it, like I said, it really depends on who I'm water changing here as to what kind of percentage I'm going to do. Depends how dirty they are, depends how old they are. Obviously, if they're really, really, really new babies, I don't do too much because trying to avoid baby betas is extremely, extremely difficult. On my shrimp tanks, we do about a 20% water change every week, sometimes 2 weeks. I don't like to disturb the balance of them too much. But my sorority gets probably a good 30% because my sorority also has guppies in it. So, they can whack those parameters out real heavy, and there's also two bristlenose plecos in there. So they also are big waste producers as well as the mystery snails. And let me tell you, my snail tanks are probably the most dirty tanks I have ever seen in my life. Like, you would be amazed how much poop those snails can produce. But yeah, I think honestly, I feel like I just felt compelled to like keep an eye on your water parameters right now. Keep an eye on the condition of the water that's coming into your house. Just because that happened to me in the last 24 hours, I was devastated because it's been like 4.5 months of hard work, and I've got a show right around the corner. Actually, Monday, I'll be sending my fish out to the beta show in Florida. So if anyone's keeping betas and anybody's breeding betas and anybody's going to the show, like sending their fish into the show, get your selections made and get them sent in. I'm still, I feel like I've literally sat and looked at beta jars for like 3 weeks straight trying to figure out who I'm sending to the show. And I'm just honestly like kind of strangely grateful that it was only the 4 that I lost, and not like my whole entire stock of fish, because it could have been really, really, really bad. So thank the Lord for small favors, because small favors, I felt like I really dodged a bullet on that one, and that's what really drove me to be like, I gotta tell everyone, because it's something that we kind of take for granted, that the water's just gonna be fine. It's there's gonna be no problems with the water when it comes out of the faucet. But the truth of the matter is that it's often the chemicals, like, we just don't know what they're using or what they're putting in, or if something changed for them. Like, I don't work in a water plant, so I have no idea what their process is. So, but like James Green was saying, that residents can sign up for water department notifications. That's a really good thing to look into if your area has that. Because then if you see that they're flushing the lines, you'll know that probably for 24 hours the water is going to be really off. And maybe you can go for those 24 hours of not doing your water changes and just making sure that, that the water is good before it goes into your fish tank. But I've been trying to think of all the different ways to kind of avoid those, all the different ways that you can avoid making the same mistake, or losing an entire tank. Like, I could have lost everything. Had I done all of my water changes, I could have killed my entire fish room. So like, thank goodness that I didn't. So I'm glad that it was just the fall that I was like, wow, I don't know how you guys made so much mess. Quickly do a water change before I go to bed. So I did the water change. I went up to bed, and the next morning they were gone. So I am very thankful for that. Um, have you guys, like, are you all on city water, or? Because I know a lot of us are, but I don't know how. I've never used well water, so I don't know how that system works. Whether you have to watch for, like, I guess it would depend on where you are, where your well is, to determine whether or not those water levels get changed through, I don't know, winter, like runoff, rain runoff, or anything like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of people just take for granted, including myself. I took it for granted too, and I apparently didn't pay as much attention as I needed to the water quality before I did my water changes. But you know, when your water looks completely clear, you don't even think that there could possibly be anything wrong with that water before it goes into your fish tank. So there was nothing that I've done any different. Rainwater is a good one too. Rainwater is a good one. I don't think I could collect enough rainwater though. Certainly not during the summer. Not to keep up with my demand, unfortunately. Closing in on, I think we counted it out at close to 100 jars for the babies, and then fish tank wise, I think we're closing in on 100 fish tanks also. So it's been super busy. But we got some new things going on in the fish room, which is really awesome. Today, I don't know if you can see um, this guy here. You probably can't see him, but I had a spawn from him today, so fingers crossed that he's going to take care of those, and I'm going to have some more baby aliens coming. Um, and then Monday, I'm going to be sending out a bunch of fish to the show, so that's exciting. And then, what else? Got some new additions coming, but I'm not going to tell anyone what they are until I can get some video footage of them, and I'm going to make a video of those so that everyone can see them. And what else? It's been really, really crazy busy. And I feel like, who else here has kids that are doing the homeschooling? Oh, Chubbs, yeah, you get a lot of rain, especially recently. Stay safe. Stay safe. What do you use to collect your rainwater? Just like buckets, or do you have like a rain collection system that you use? Hi, redfish, bluefish. Hello. You're not getting the notifications? I'm wondering if the notifications even went out. Susan. Hi, Susan. I hope you're well, sweetie. I don't know. It seems very delayed on my end, and I'm not too sure why. But I feel like, hi, Jay's beta room. Now it seems like everyone's starting to come in. It's crazy. I don't know exactly what's been going on, or whether the notifications are just not going out, or I'm not 100% sure. I'm glad you got it this time. But since my last video, which was actually on, you only just got the notification? Wow, that's crazy. It's 26 minutes in and you only just got the notification. I wonder why. Drums and tubs. Okay. Okay, James Green. Yeah, you see, that always really, really worries me. Like, and especially now that, it was like, oh, again? Like, you get yourself into a routine of everything's been fine, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like, darn it, I missed it again. Like, we've been, my husband, I gotta say a huge shout out to my husband, because he has worked so hard, so hard. He has been working on getting my website done, helping me in the fish room. He has been an absolute saint. Um, so yes, it is official. I do have my website up. It is up and running, and just trying to get into the gear of getting everything added, which is another thing. I never realized how much work a website is. You think in your head, oh, you get your domain name and make a few clicks and add some pictures and it's done. No. That's not how that works. That is not how that works. If you're trying to do them yourself, it's very time consuming and somewhat stressful, especially if you're not really not just really computer savvy, but like if you're not particularly computer savvy, it's I had a hard time with it. I'm not gonna lie. I had a really hard time with it, which is why I got my husband involved with it, and he obliged, and God love him. He sat for about 11 and a half hours straight to get it up and functioning. And then from that point on, I have literally taken so many pictures of my fish for countless hours. Like, literally, no word of a lie. I think I have been in this fish room probably close to 14 hours. Like, I feel like it's 14 hours a day. I'm not even joking. Like, I barely have enough time to eat dinner and go to bed and get up. Like, I feel like I've been down here so much, which I don't care. He honestly, Rod, he has been absolutely amazing. Between that, and then on top of it, he's also been working really hard on getting a Teespring account up and running. So if you guys have been seeing the posts for the t-shirts, I have a few favorites. They're all still a work in progress, but the ones that we really liked are already up and listed, and I want to say some of them are just absolutely hilarious. And then there's like the little cutesy ones. And Jay's Beta Room, yes. Let me tell you, he has been such a blessing, because honestly, like, he's been coming down, he's been doing water changes, he's been helping me out. He is, dare I say, he is converted to fish keeping. So I'm very, very, very happy about that, because now I don't need any excuses to get fish, because if he sees something he likes, he can get it, and I'm going to be like, sure, have it, I don't care. More fish. But we still have quite a few, like, things in the works, so to speak. My build in my garage. I don't know. I know some of you guys remember it or have seen posts recently, possibly not too recently, in the past few months about it. We started cleaning all of the fish tanks and getting them set up ready to be installed, because again we have some more projects that we're probably going to start up again when the weather turns back, maybe springtime, because it gets very cold up here. If anyone's from Pennsylvania, you know what it's like. Um, but right now, I have one side of the garage completely ready. Just gotta get some get the stands put in, the plumbing put in, and it's good to go. But that again was majorly time consuming, and between the website, the Teespring, the fish room, homeschooling 4 children, and working a full-time job too, it's there's not enough hours in a day to to even think about sleeping. Like, I honestly haven't been going to bed until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just so exhausted. I'll be so happy when the climb to this point is over and then I can climb to the next point. So for everyone that's had to deal with me in the past couple of weeks, whether it be through my friends or my husband, my kids, God bless you all, because I can be a handful. So just remember that your dreams are achievable no matter how high you might think they are. You can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. And for me, with a little bit more, like a little bit of support in certain areas that I'm not so good in, like computers, I'm not good at computers. I'm really not. I'm no good at that at all. Like, it's amazing that I can even go live or make a video because my computer skills are really, really lacking. But what else? Oh, you know what? At the end of the live stream, I'm gonna put a link in, unless somebody else wants to do it. I'm gonna put a link into my website so you guys can check it out and give me some feedback if you think that there's anything. Right now, it's literally only for my current stock, what I have, and this coming probably in the early spring, I'm gonna say. There'll hopefully be some dry goods added to it, such as like maybe some foods and stuff like that, because I don't want to I don't want to get caught up in the whole dry goods versus my fish, because I have a lot going on with my fish and a lot of people really love them, and that is my absolute focus. Like, these guys are my absolute passion. So I don't want anything to take away from that at all. But I've got some great friends that have been super helpful recently. So to them, and they know who they are, thank you very, very much. What else? Oh my goodness. And one of the other things that's been holding back the garage build is that we discovered that the electrical for the garage, it's not going to be able to handle the load of what I'm going to put in there. So we actually have to have an electrician come out and make sure that it can handle the load, you know, the electrical current load. I don't know what it's called. But that was the next thing, because that was definitely one of the things that was holding it back. And also it's on a concrete slab, so the floor is like really, really level out there, but the problem with it is the concrete holds the cold. So we want to make sure that certainly that side of of the garage is like really well insulated. So we figure if we're gonna pull that down, we may as well just do everything and get it all done in one hit. Um, what I actually have, you probably see me keep looking over in that direction, is because I actually have notes, because I tend to wander off with things that I'm talking about, but that's the joy of being me, I guess. Um, the website has been crazy. Like, just trying to get everything going, uploaded, and that workload, like, you would never realize that it's that difficult to get a website up and going and running. Um, and also, then, not only that, but also the between the website, Jess, yay! Between the website and the Facebook, like, my husband has literally taken all of that over for me, because it's very, very tough to, for one person. Like, if you're one person and you're able to do all of this, I'm gonna give you major, major credit, because I know me personally, like I said, I don't have enough time in the day to do my water changes, work my job, homeschool my kids, and try and do a website. Like, it's just not, it's not something that I'm able to do. So all of the people out there that have got that done, you're pretty special, because there's no way there is no way that I'm able to do that. What else did I want to talk about? Yes, yes, Jess, he's got it. He's got it there. But no one knows what he's got yet. So, and we're not talking about like sickness bug. He's 100% invested in the fish room, and I'm absolutely loving every second of it. Absolutely loving it. I'm so fortunate to have his support and now his curiosity. Like, the questions and the conversations we've had. Yeah, 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 that's right, Jess. For those of you that are not aware, Jess has actually been to my house and dealt with my craziness in person. So, and she's still my friend, so that's a good thing. But Jess, we were talking about like water, because uh I had the city water from hell the other day, and well, not yesterday, the day before, and even when I aged it, it killed 4 of my betas. So I was pretty upset about that. So that's one of the things that really, really spurred me to get this live stream up, because I really feel like people should be made aware of the fact that city water, whilst we take it for granted, really got to pay attention to it. Like, really got to pay attention to it. Sometimes I feel like they flush the lines up here every other week just for the hell of it. I mean, I'm sure that there's reasons for it, but sometimes I go to get water from the faucet and it's like brown. I'm like, what's going on? So remember to leave your faucet running before you do your water changes. Get all of that. I don't know how long it takes for the system to get flushed. Flush your own system in your house before you put it anywhere near your fish tanks. That will, yeah, I don't know what this was. Honestly, I was absolutely devastated. But I'm glad that it was my beta jars. So I'm glad that it was only a handful of my babies that unfortunately didn't make it. But there, there's a few that are still a little bit touch and go. But there was 4 that they were gone by the time I came down this morning. So I'm just really glad that it was literally only the 4 of them that didn't make it. But we definitely got to pay attention to our chemicals during the winter, because who knows what the water companies are doing. I have no idea. One of these days I will conduct like testing on the water to my house and see what it's doing over a period of time, like maybe over a month. Test the water every day just for my own curiosity, I guess, because trying to move the fish room into a new direction where it's now actually becoming more of a business, like a legitimate business, not just a hobby. You got to make sure that everyone is happy and healthy and well. And I don't have any issues with anything ever except for when that happens. That's the only time. And unfortunately, I'm betting that that's across the board for everyone, unless you're running an RO system, which might be the next thing that I have to add to the list of things that I want to add to the fish room, which might actually end up taking over my house. But what else? Oh, and like I was saying before, I was saying thank you to my husband, but also I did say thank you to a few of my friends. Um, there's been a handful of people that have really, really helped answer questions that I didn't know when it comes to like website, and also help my husband with questions that he didn't have the answers to when it came to the website and building the website. So for those of you that were actually there helping us through that process, thank you so much. Um, Honestly, like I have some of the most amazing friends, some of the most amazing customers. Like you guys just make my day so many times, even when things don't necessarily go according to plan. Knowing that everyone is on the same page, and you know, you're actually human enough to know that things don't always go the way we want them to. It's a blessing. Like that is an absolute blessing to me. Um, I have, what else do I have? I have the beta show coming up, and then there's another one, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna enter both of them because, yeah, I probably will, because I'm absolutely addicted to sending fish out to shows. Um, and the merchandise that's up on Teespring, some of it is hilarious. I know that a couple of guys have actually commented on one of the genius designs that my husband had, and I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up on my phone, but I'm gonna quickly try, because I think if anyone hasn't seen them on my Facebook, I mean, some of them are just so funny, and some of them are like super super cute too. I love them. I absolutely love them. And it's nice to have my husband like sitting there and trying to come up with all these new like fish terms that he's not completely familiar with, apart from like the things that he's heard me saying. And then all of a sudden he'll come up with something new, and it's absolutely hilarious. Like this t-shirt is, I mean, it cracks me up. It's probably kind of inappropriate in a way if anyone's heard the song, but under the down arrow is watch your parameters, and it's kind of hilarious. So that one, I think it's funny as heck, but that's probably my sense of humor. But there's so many. He has done such an amazing job, and I really don't want to sound like a broken record, but it is risque, but it is so funny. Like it's awesome. And then one of my other favorites, uh sorry, just give me a second. Um and actually Jess has been an awesome help to me too, because Jess sat and like not particularly brainstormed it, but she sent a couple of ideas over to me, of which I gave them to my husband. And here, Jess, I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but oh, can you see that? I knew that I, at the very least, I think most people in here actually have my sense of humor for the most part. And if not, then it's okay. It's okay. I have kind of a silly sense of humor, goofy, I guess you could put it. But he has worked so incredibly hard. Like, oh, oh boy, this is what happens. I click stuff and then I'm like, oh no, what'd I do? He has worked so incredibly hard on these. It's not even funny. So by all means, feel free to go and check out the Teespring. Find the link on Facebook. And actually, after this is done, I'll here, Jess, this one, you'll appreciate this one too, Jess, and anyone else that keeps shrimp. So it's hilarious. There's so many things, and it just makes me smile because he worked so hard on them, and people have given such great responses that it's like feeding the creativity, because there's no negativity, and that is just, it's fantastic. Thank you so much. And this one, actually, Jess, I don't know if you saw this one, but you guys, this one is funny, and this one got the most responses out of all of them. So many people thought that that was hilarious, and so many people like just loved it. And I'm just so happy that these things are taking place, and these things are unfolding, I guess, and that so many people are supporting everything that I've been working so hard on, as well as my husband now. Now my husband is actually getting his own fish, and I'm not saying what they are because that's a secret, but he's getting his own fish. And not only is he getting his own fish, he is also getting fish that need help. So that whole conversation between me and him, I can't even tell you how excited I was when he was like, what can I do to help? What fish can I get? And I'm like, what fish can you get? Oh, I got a list. But it was so fantastic. And now the original shrimp tanks, I don't know if anybody remembers, but I have a 75-gallon over the other end of the fish room. And that has ended up being a blue shrimp tank. Like, of all things to keep in a 75, it's got shrimp in it. And then I have the other rack that's on the side, which has 6 fish tanks in that. And that was supposed to be for like all of my plants and stuff. And now it's his. I gave it to him. I gave it to him, and I'm gonna let him go to town and explore the fish world with us. So I'm so excited. And you're gonna have to go to the Teespring, Jay's Beta. Like, there are so many funny designs on there. Some of them are a little risky, but hilarious. Like, anyone with half a sense of humor is gonna find them funny. So, and especially like fish keepers too. We all think that silly things are funny. I think, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I'm super excited to see how things are going to unfold over the next couple of months or so. And I promise I'm going to try and keep uploading. It's just been super, super hard, purely for the fact of homeschooling is absolutely if you've got one child that's being homeschooled right now, I feel for you. If you have more than one child that's being homeschooled right now, I understand. Trust me. It is so difficult. It's and I just feel so bad for the teachers and the parents and the children mostly, because this is just, it needs to go away. You know, our kids need to be kids again. But that's a whole other story that I'm not going to get myself involved in because it's frustrating. Uh, yep. I honestly don't know. Oh, sorry, my face is itching. Um, it really is a really, really crazy time between that and everything else that's going on, and trying to get, you know, the business going fully, the changes to the fish room, the additions to the fish room, the additions with the website, keeping up to date with the photos and everything is just, it is a lot, and I love it. Like, I thrive in chaos anyway. That's just kind of who I am. I mean, I've got 8 children, so who wouldn't thrive in chaos than a mother of 8? So it's definitely been, it's been a ride. It has been a really big ride, and then there's so many great things happening recently that I can't really speak about now, but there's a lot of things that are kind of in the works to be happening over the next like 6 months or so. I'm sorry, my face is itching. I apologize. Oh my goodness. And in the next kind of, I want to say 3 to 6 months. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to fall, but there's going to be some crazy, crazy new things happening. Some absolutely amazing additions happening. And I'm just happy to have everyone along for the ride. And then, I'm just so thankful. Like, I'm really thankful. And I know, Jess, I've been trying to convince my husband that maybe we should move to VA, but he's not having it. So you might have to call him and tell him. Although, you know, you might be moving too. So how's that going to work? But it's great. It is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know, has anyone here dealt with random water issues, or is it just me? I tend to, I know that a lot of people around this kind of time do have really crazy water issues. Jess, have you ever dealt with random water issues during the winter? I wonder if it's different during the States. Like, I'm wondering if it's like different for the northern states over the southern states. Like, do the water parameters change during the seasons there too, or is it more of like a colder area, like Pennsylvania, for instance, that has these issues? I mean, I'm sure that the city water gets flushed everywhere, not just Pennsylvania, but yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. I just, again, like, it was really bugging me all day. Like, it was kind of a spare of the moment, last minute, like, okay, I'm gonna go live, because I was just honestly, like, bothered about it. Like, so many people, and these are the silly things that people that are new in the hobby don't think about, because I mean, how would they know? You know, anyone who is new in the hobby, maybe a few months in, just doesn't think of that. And I mean, even us more experienced keepers get caught out with it. And I know for a fact, like, I mean, I age my water and I still got caught out by it. So if I'm someone who got caught out of it, by it, sorry, how many new hobbyists that are trying to get into fish keeping have had that failure happen, which has just completely decimated them from being interested anymore. Like, oh, I gave it water and it died. Like, yeah, well, and that was the random thing. I'm still trying to pinpoint what day it was that I filled the buckets. I want to say it was, what day are we now? Wednesday. So it must have been Monday. Yeah, it must have been Monday morning that I filled the buckets. Right. I filled the buckets Monday morning, aged them, and then it was right before I went to bed last night. And bear in mind that that wasn't until like maybe 3 o'clock this morning. And then this morning when I came down, there was 4 of them that had passed. So, and it was literally just that split-second decision of, oh, you're grubby, let's clean it. I cleaned them, and the next morning they were gone. So, and like I said to the other guys before, I was like, I'm so grateful that it was only a handful of them. I lost 4 of them, but if I remember correctly, it was like 6 of the cups that I did. It wasn't 4 of the cups. I think it was like 6. And I lost 4 of them. 2 of them I've managed to somehow save them, but they're not out of the woods yet. They're still looking a little bit stressed out. But I mean, these things happen, but I'm sure there's so many new keepers that just cannot understand that, when you're running on city water, they flush the lines, and whether it's chemicals, whether it's a sediment buildup, whether it's whatever it is, it's toxic. Like, it will wipe out a fish tank, no problem. So definitely, as a kind of like a recap, I guess you could put it, before doing your water changes, especially during the winter months, more so than during the summer months, I found. But just as a general good point to remember when you're doing water changes is always let that water run, and let it run until either, I don't know, probably 3 minutes or so, maybe even longer. But let it run for like 3 minutes so you can make sure that all of the lines coming into your house, or if there is any sediment buildup or chemical buildup or gas buildup, whatever it might be in your water lines in case they flush them, let that water run for a good few minutes. If you hear the water spitting or spattering, definitely wait until that passes and you've got a good, clean, even flow coming from your faucet. And if in doubt, wait another 24 hours to do your water changes. Like, I cannot stress it enough. Like, I really cannot. Like, I've been doing this for years and I still got caught out by it. So I got caught out by it. Anyone can get caught out by it. And I'm not going to sit here and say I get it right every single time, because I don't. But, I think trying to help somebody learn from my experiences is going to help keep people in the hobby. Whether it's betta fish keeping, whether it's goldfish keeping, it doesn't matter what kind of fish it is. Fish, especially shrimp, for instance, a lot of just that one little thing being off balance with these shrimp tanks, and it's all going to be over in a hobby. And I don't want people leaving the hobby because they just didn't know. Oh, okay, it could be a water issue. So many people just don't. They might come into the groups and they might watch the groups, but maybe something wasn't written in the group about water changes recently, and there's no way of scrolling through 10,000 messages to try and figure out if anyone's had the same issue. Or maybe they can't find the information where they're thinking of looking. So I feel like sharing it where there's an easy point to get to via YouTube, for instance. And I'm pretty sure I spoke about this like a year ago, but because this happened to me again, I was like, no, I've got to let people know. So I really feel like making sure that people are aware to double check. And you know what, Jess, you did make a really good point there, because I said the same thing. If the water smells extra, like if you smell like extra chlorine. Like, you can smell it. It's almost to the point that you can taste the chlorine when the gases are coming out of the faucet. I would just set that water aside or pour it out. Like, I wouldn't drink it, let alone allow my fish to be in it. So I want everyone to succeed in fish keeping. Like, I want to set people up for success. I don't want people leaving the hobby because of something that they had no control over and they didn't have the resources to figure out what the underlying cause was. So hopefully someone will see this and watch it on the replay, which I know it's been an hour now, but hopefully those first 20 minutes of the video will make someone go, oh, maybe it was the water. This is what I have to do. This is how I need to move forward, and this is how I can try again. So fingers crossed that that's the case. But yeah, I'm sorry for like kind of the random just get on, talk a bunch of stuff. There was no like real set nothing really set in stone as for, I mean, the topic was kind of this happened, I got to tell people. It wasn't like a oh, well, this week I'm going to talk about this and this week I'm going to talk about that, like it used to be. And it's been a while since I've had any kind of regular routine, of which I'm trying to get back to. So hopefully Wednesdays might be my day to start going live again. So we're going to have to spread the word out there somehow that that's happening. And the next milestone, I guess, for me will be hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube also. I'm about halfway, so I feel very special that there's 500 people that have subbed to my channel. And I want to thank everyone for doing so. I really appreciate it. And if any of you are participating in the show in Florida for the beta, good luck. And I hope you don't beat my fish. No, I'm joking. I wish you the best of luck, obviously. And may the best fish win. And there was that net again. It just randomly flew into my face. My God. Thanks, Jay. I do appreciate it, because honestly, like, I don't ever try to be scripted. I try to like make points, because I do get distracted super easy, especially when I'm live streaming. Because honestly, ask Jess, I do not slow down. Like, my head is always going 9 million miles an hour. So I'm so easily distracted. And actually, my husband and I were talking about me like having quote unquote an office area upstairs. But you see, my dog is bigger than me. So we're not too sure how that's gonna work out, because she's a 10-month-old Great Dane who, her head is bigger than mine, and she's amazing, but she has no regard for someone's personal space, and she'll probably be stood behind me swinging a pillow around my front room. And yeah, and I mean, literally, when I'm sitting in a chair, she stands here. So like, this would be her head. She's a very, very big girl, and she's pushing probably every bit of 115 pounds at 10 months old. So that was something else that we've been, oh my God, she's something. Jess, I gotta send you the pictures. She is, and let me tell you, this will give you an idea of how big she is. She can almost get a basketball in her mouth. A basketball. Yeah. It's just, every time I see her with a basketball, and I'm just like, that almost fits in her mouth, I'm like, what? What are we feeding this animal? Like, I mean, a lot. She eats about 10 or 11 cups of food a day. So yeah, she's definitely got a good appetite on her, bless her. But I think I'm gonna wrap that up here. And again, just just really pay attention. And if anyone, when you're on YouTube, no, sorry, when you're on Facebook or in the groups or I don't know, some other form of communication, and you see that someone's fish just randomly dropped dead, because a lot of people will be like, I don't get it. My fish were fine last night and today they're dead. Well, you know, a lot of people probably never even thought about, oh, well, that person's lying, but it's actually water. It was the water that they took from their faucet and poured into their fish tanks with not enough chemicals to counteract whatever the water companies put in the water. But it's definitely one of those things that I really, really wanted to get out there again, because I just fear that a lot of people are going to lose fish during this time and have no idea why. And honestly, that's most likely the reason, is because water companies flush their lines. So anyone that's going to the beta show, good luck. May the best fish win. All of you should go and explore my website, not necessarily to buy anything. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you don't buy stuff, but just explore my website. Give me some feedback on how you think it is. If there's any kind of suggestion on change or a more like an easier customer, what's the word, like an easier way of doing something, or something that I've missed, or whatever, if there's something that will help you as a customer, make it easier to navigate my site, that's the right wording right there, navigation of my website, please, by all means, send me an email and give me your suggestions. I love feedback. I love to know whether or not what I have done, or what my husband and I have been doing, is being received well on the other end, or if there's like little glitches that need to be flattened out. Because let's face it, nothing ever goes off without a hitch. Like, there's always something that's going to hold you back a little bit. Thank you, Jay. Are you going to be attending the beta show in Florida? And then also, again, huge thank you to all of my customers. You guys that have bought, and I'm not even joking, in the past week alone, probably every part of 100 or more shrimp. Thank you. Like, I cannot be more grateful. And every single one of you, I've had some sort of personal, like some sort of actual point of sale conversation with you, because most of you have messaged me on Facebook. You guys are awesome. Like, the fish community, and I've said it a billion times before, the community that we have is absolutely fabulous. It's just the most amazing community to be a part of, and I'm so thankful to actually be a part of it. Strange Genetics, what are you working on? You're gonna have to message me on Facebook, because so a massive thank you to my customers. You guys are absolutely awesome. And then a huge thank you particularly to Thomas Todd and Rod Eversole, because you guys have done nothing but absolutely crack me up. Like, you guys are awesome, phenomenal people. So if anyone has the pleasure of doing business with Rod Eversole or Thomas Todd, these guys are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal people. I absolutely love them there, and I'm so glad to be able to call them friends, because they are really great people, not just customers. They're really great people, fantastic people. And then also, don't forget to go and check out the merch, because I know that there's something in there for everyone. And hopefully by next week, maybe next week, I'm going to show you some of the new inhabitants of my fish room. and it's gonna be a blast. I'm so excited. But on that note, I've already gone over by 10 minutes. I should probably say whatever and keep going, but I'm working on about 4 hours sleep, so I'm already feeling like it's bedtime. So, um, if anyone has any questions or any issues or needs some advice with any of their fish, feel free to reach out to me. A lot of you already know that it's not just betas that I keep, and in the years that I've been keeping fish, I've seen one or two things, and I've learned one or two things that I can definitely share with everyone. So I am going to call it a night, and you guys need to be awesome and just keep spreading the word. And Jay, if you need any kind of insight into anything, feel free to shoot me a message. When you're saying you're trying to stabilize strain genetics, I'm wondering what that actually is. So feel free to reach out to me, and I can definitely talk your ear off for strain genetics. And on that note, guys, stay well, stay safe, keep COVID out of your door, and God bless, because everyone needs someone at this point. If anyone needs anything, feel free to reach out to me, even if it's just to vent. I have no problem answering questions and speaking to people, now more so than ever. So